And there's a verse in the Quran in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and Allah is speaking about a specific group of people. He says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُحِبُّونَ أَن تَشِيءَ الْفَاحِشَةُ فِي الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. The verse, the rough meaning of the verse, verily those who love that obscenity, fahisha, should be spread amongst those who believe, then for them is a tormenting punishment in this life and the hereafter. And Allah knows, and you do not know. When we go back to the books of tafsir, and we look at what is the meaning of this verse, the meaning of this verse is, for example, let's say a believer, he commits a sin, he might steal, he might fornicate, he might fall into adultery or whatever. So then somebody else comes along, and then he starts spreading this sin amongst the people. Oh, did you know so-and-so fell into this? Did you know so-and-so did this? Did you know so-and-so did this? So now he spreads this news amongst the people. This is the person who is being spoken of here in this ayah. The person who does this action. He takes the sins of the people and then he spreads it amongst the people, the news of that sin. This is what is being referred to. And likewise, this ayah is in Surah Nur, the 24th Surah, verse 19. And in its origin is referring to the slander against Aisha radiallahu anha. But the meaning is general and applies in general, as the scholars have explained, to anyone who falls into this act. And likewise, from Abi Hurairah, who said that the Messenger ﷺ said, إِذَا قَالَ الرَّجُلْ حَلَكَ النَّاسِ فَهُوَ أَحْلَكَهُم. That when a man says that the people have perished, then in reality he is the one who's caused them to perish. Meaning that a man shouldn't really make these general statements based upon what he sees from the people, that they are destroyed. Because really by that statement of his, in essence, he's destroying them. So this is another prohibition of speaking in that manner, and this hadith is sahih, reported by Muslim. So the Messenger ﷺ, he didn't even leave that door open either. And this leads us now to the final principle upon which we conclude. Number 12 is that the Messenger ﷺ, that in general, when we look at the text in the Sunnah, he prohibited the causing and the stirring of trouble, just general incitation and stirring up things within the society and creating these tribulations. The Messenger prohibited that. And we can gather this from all of the texts that we've heard already, and some many other texts that we find in the Sunnah. So we find that he prohibited the causes that lead to these tribulations, irrespective of how small and insignificant they might be. And he prohibited from the taking up of arms, and he prohibited many things. And we find in the hadith reported by Al-Miqdad bin Al-Aswad, he said that the Messenger ﷺ said, "Inna Sa'id laman janib al-fitan wa laman ibtuliya fa sabar." That verily, the happy person is the one who avoided the tribulations. He kept out of them, kept away from them. And the one who, when he was put to trial, he was patient. Hadith Sahih, reported by Abu Dawood, authenticated by Shaykh Al-Albani rahimahullah. And so from this, inshallah ta'ala, I hope you can see clearly the light in the revelation of Allah and the light in the sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ, and the clarity that you find in these narrations, and how things are so crystal clear, and the difference between that and the batil that these people that we're speaking of, who are in the present times, the people like Osama bin Laden, and the people of takfir, and the people who speak about jihad when they know nothing about the Sharia jihad. That there's a great difference between this and that. And inshallah, with this we hope that these affairs of the sunnah can be revived, because as we said, these people, just like in the first times, when I said the introduction that we gave, how when these innovations became introduced in the early times, the bid'ahs of the Khawaarij, and the Shia, the Rafida, and the Qadariyyah, and the Murji'ah, and the Mu'tazila, and over time what happened is that they became spread, and the sunnah became forgotten. The sunnah became neglected up until it reached a point where the sunnah was treated as bid'ah, and the bid'ah was treated as sunnah. If you didn't believe that the Quran was created, you were a kafir. If you didn't reject the attributes of Allah, you were a mushabbih. You were someone who likened Allah to His creation. This is how it was. And this is how it became widespread. These innovators, they gained the strength in those times. And that's how it was. And Ahlul Sunnah were persecuted on account of adhering to the correct beliefs. Likewise, in our times, you find that these beliefs are widespread amongst the Muslims, even the general Muslims. And this is how it is. So with this, inshallah, we hope that these principles that you've heard, these texts that you've heard from the words of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that we learn them, we memorize them, we teach them, we propagate them, we spread them, we teach them to the Muslimin, so that this batil of these people can be refuted and removed from the society. And finally, I want to finish with 3 quotations, inshallah ta'ala, if you just bear with me, because they are very, very important. I know, inshallah, the lecture's gone on for quite a while, but have sabr. For the sake of completion, I want to mention 3 quotations, two of which are from Ibn al-Qayyim, which should be written in gold. which are amazing. The first quotation is a short one from Al-Imam al-Shawkani, and he gives the definition of someone who is al-Baghi. Al-Baghi is someone who basically is a renegade. He gives the definition of a renegade, someone who basically abandons the jama'ah of the Muslims. So he said, Ash-Shawkani said, and he said in As-Sayl al-Jarrar, he said, al-Baghi, he's the one who removes himself from the obedience to the Imam. And he basically attacks and reviles this Imam in the issue of the benefit to the Muslims in general, to the benefit of the Muslims in his society, meaning that he criticizes him for failing to maintain the benefits for the Muslims in the society. And he does this, meaning he criticizes him upon other than basira, upon other than knowledge, upon other than insight. And he does it in a manner that isn't from the angle of giving sincere advice. And then he continued up until he said, and it's not permissible to make khuruj, to rebel up against the rulers, even if they reach whatever levels of oppression that they reach, so long as we don't see from them open, clear, manifest disbelief. And the hadith in this regard are mutawatira, that they are mutawatir in this regard. Now look at the definition that he gave. Someone who first of all removes himself from the obedience of the Imam, and what's his excuse? He starts attacking the Imam because he's not looking after the people are in poverty, yet this ruler himself, he's in riches, the ruler is enjoying this luxury and that luxury, yet the people are in poverty, like these kind of things. He's bringing these kind of things. And he does it in a way where you can tell that he isn't really sincere. Wallahi, this definition, there are specific names I can mention, like Al-Muhammad Al-Mas'ari, who's in London, who left Saudi Arabia, went to London, and then he started publicizing the sins of the rulers, sending faxes that this prince did such and such, this prince did such and such, this ruler did such and such, and sending them into the kingdom from within London, and spreading this dissension amongst the people and turning those people against the rulers. This is this individual. This definition fits this individual. And likewise Sa'ad al-Faqih, and likewise Osama bin Laden. These are the bughat, these are the renegades. This is who they are. That's the first quotation. Second quotation is from Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, and he said regarding the open rejection of the rulers and the kings and rebelling against them. So Ibn al-Qayyim said it in his book I'lam al-Muwaqqi'in. So he said, this is a great topic and it contains much benefit, and due to ignorance of this topic a great mistake has occurred and fallen upon the Sharia. And then he went on to say that the Prophet ﷺ, he legislated for his Ummah the obligation of rejecting the evil, so that when we reject the evil, the goodness that Allah and His Messenger intended and that they love is actually brought about. Right? So this is meaning that this is the intention behind rejecting the evil. We reject the evil so that the goodness can come in turn. And then he says, but when rejecting the evil leads to what is more evil and more hated by Allah and His Messenger, then it is not allowed to reject that evil. So meaning that if we were to reject the evil and as a result of it more evil entails, then it is prohibited to reject the evil in that case. And even if Allah, He dislikes the evil which is occurring, even if He dislikes and hates it, we still can't prohibit the evil because it will lead to a greater evil. And then Ibn al-Qayyim says, and this is like the rejection against the kings, meaning against the rulers, and those who are in authority, by coming out against them. And for verily, doing this is the basis and the foundation of every evil and every fitna till the end of time. So Ibn al-Qayyim said that this is the asl of the fitna and the tribulation up until the end of time. And he said that the companions, they asked permission from the Messenger ﷺ for killing the leaders who just delayed the prayer from its proper time. And so they said to him, should we not kill them? And he said, no. So long as they continue to establish the prayer and at least lead the people in and pray, then no. And he also said, whoever sees something from his leader that he dislikes, then let him be patient and let him not raise his hand from the leader's obedience. And then Ibn al-Qayyim says, whoever reflects upon the greatest and the smallest trials that have occurred in Islam, all of the trials which have occurred in Islam, then he will see that all of them are due to the negligence and the wastage of this principle, and the lack of having patience upon seeing this evil occur, meaning from the rulers. So this person, when he sees this evil, he hastily tries to bring about the end of this evil, thinking he's doing good, meaning that he, thinking he's doing good. So he seeks to bring about this end, and as a result of this, a greater evil is brought about. This is what happens. And then he said, and the Messenger ﷺ, he saw the greatest of evils in Mecca, and he wasn't able to change them. And even when Allah He gave victory to the Muslims,